The racetrack was that little pissant thing that we stopped at. It's microscopic. I thought this whole bloody thing was a racetrack. What a chip. Blown out of proportion for its size, that's for sure. God, I pity people that have done the whole drive just to go see the racetrack. It was lunacy. It's a little bit of a clay pan, a few rocks. The wind blows around when the clay pan gets a layer of frost or whatever. At least the link road was a fun road. But yeah, if I'd driven as a normal person down from Ubehebe crater to here just to see that, might be disappointed. Nuts. Okay, so this is going to take us through the cut up there, and it's sort of getting late. It's 5:37. We've got about an hour and a half of sunlight. It's just cloudy, so that's why it's looking a bit dark. And on the other side of this Lost Burro gap, just a few k's, is a whole bunch of prospects and Lost Burro Mine and stuff like that. So I plan to camp somewhere in that general area, just on the other side of this. So I might as well video going through the gap. I'm sure it looks like fun. Not from a technical perspective, but just for the view. There was a sign that 6 miles ahead there's soft sand or some such bullshit, but not advisable, take the road. But yeah, obviously if you're a car, I mean, they could just say that, you know, car's not advisable because of this, versus just basically blanketing and that it's going to be sandy at the end of the universe. Oh look, I found the whole tribe. Alright, so obviously caught up the guys. A few of them are gone ahead to check out whether the Lost Burro Mine, which is where I was planning to camp, is decent and has enough room for them or not. I'm heading there regardless to camp. Since it's likely more protected than this valley, gully, canyon slot that could blow up a gale of wind if it's so decided. Oh, that's a nice cave on the right there. Plenty of room to sleep in there. So the mine looks much more attractive from the perspective of being protected, and even if it's not a huge space, I don't need a huge space. I just need enough room to put a chair down. So I'm sleeping out of the back anyway. Anywho, I see lots of Joshua trees through here as well, which is kind of neat. That's not very far anyway. Just a few kilometres down here, maybe. Ooh, what? 2 and a bit, maybe. And that's where the crossroads is. Sort of to the right is the mine, and to the left is the road that goes along one way. so that the tailgate area is shielded by the rest of the vehicle. Do all my cooking, sit back there, and then skedaddle inside for my sleepies, my beddy guys. Pretty close now to the road end. Well, it's Lost Burro Mine. Woken up, gone for a walk up the top, the little mine areas inside the one that's still open. We took some video on the phone, breakfast and everything. Had a little hiking group with some adults and maybe a dozen high schoolers from the Bay Area hiked down from, I think, behind me, and they've gone down this path. So it was a while ago, so I might have given them enough time to move on to the main road and wherever else they're heading. Otherwise I'll catch them up. Quite a cold night. I'm sure it'll start to warm up as the sun gets going. There's definitely a maintained road in here. This is pretty clear that a little front end loader or bulldozer's been through here and taken the top off. It's way too smooth and flat to be unmaintained. There's a sign pointing up here on the main road, so clearly on the National Park tourist loop. That's alright, I won't complain. Comfy drive in. Always better than being bounced around. Oh, sort of a little dust devil down in the valley there. Windy enough. Alright, so I'll call it good for now. Something shiny up there. Lots of dust behind, so that might be where they were warning of being sandy or whatever. The wind's just blowing the dust off. Yeah, I want to see what the shiny thing is. Let's see, there's dust in the far distance. Just pulled over at the top of the pass there to put a little bit more tension on the C-clamp of the U-bolt for the having pulled them out. Just use one of the hooks on the front of the, or bolts, U-bolt things on the front of the Ruba, since the rental didn't have an open hook that's closed, so they had to use that on their end, and I used one of my homemade and well proven now soft shackles. And I normally leave a door open, just hop out of the car and doors open. Fortunately, it's blowing a gale up there, and I obviously opened up the tailgate, and a roll of toilet paper got caught by the wind and completely unfurled in a fraction of a second and went hurtling down the road. I went back and well, not back but forward, and recovered it all. Don't particularly want to litter with a whole roll of toilet paper, but it's still usable. It's not like it's covered in mud or anything, but so it was kind of hilarious watching it take off on me. Actually quite a nice drive through here. The advantage of being the lesser used road is less corrugations, obviously. What a smooth ride, barely touching on 30 miles an hour. Where other places you have to be sitting on 50 to try and get over the corrugations. These have just about none, and what they have are just microscopic anyway. The tyres down a bit, it's all super easy. Look at that. That was Ubehebe Talc Mine Road. So I am on a mission to see a few places. Let me back up and head in and we'll see what's there. Kind of half pointless having a sign that's not on the road, but that's fine. You only know where you're going once you're going there. Hilarious. Pretty neat. Got a structure and everything. The guys would have had quite a nice campsite if they'd just come a bit further. It was getting late. Yeah. I guess the mine's up there on the right. Built into the side of the hill, so we keep things a little cooler. A little bit of fossicking around now. I figured I'd go down this little road a little bit. It's from the mine. It's marked as a full drive track on the topo, and it's a full loop back to the main road. And visits another mine. Look at the maps. It's called Keeler Mine. We'll just see what the road's like anyway. If it continues like it was just back a little bit, then it's fine. I mean, obviously here it's super fine. Just follows the back of the valley here. So it doesn't look like it's going to be going through too many contour changes, so Joshua trees. Little hidden valleys. Alright, we'll see if there's anything interesting in a while. Well, we are doing a little climbing here. And rocks, of course, since we're on the side of a hill. So we'll get an idea once we're at the top what's on the other side. Climb to the top of the world. Just follows around. Okay, well, see what we'll see in a while. Well, it looked like more of the same kind of road, and I don't really want to be spending an hour going a few miles. So I decided to turn around and go back through mine here again, and then this road also enters from the other direction, so I'll have a quick look as I go by if that looks like an easier way to just pop in and look at that mine. It's a fair distance just to get to a mine from this direction, especially this kind of just slow rocky terrain stuff. Off to breakfast. Yeah, it's a decent road. Just a little bit slow for a morning outing. Anyhow, I've seen most of this before, so no point videoing it. Just the alternate view. You can actually see another mine structure on the left that you couldn't see from the other direction coming down. Lots of old 44-gallon drums washed down here. Battlefield of them. Couple little ledges. Building. Logbook. Alright. Back out to the main road now. Another forest of Joshua trees. Yeah, the track coming out the other end of it was barely used at all, so just a couple of tire marks on it. Yeah, not worth wasting time unless there was this area versus driving the Ubehebe and all that stuff. It's much more fun. And that silt area is really a non-issue if you just pick your line appropriately. Just don't drive down the middle where it's completely chopped out in two-wheel drive, like there's a poor Indian family. But they are at least out here exploring. Alright, so many choices, so many choices. Okay, so there's a Quackenbush mine, which must be down here, so let's go check that out. Now we're nearly to the mine. Actually, I can just see the top of it over there. They seem to like building them on the top of hills, so we're seeming to climb a fairly rocky stretch here, just in low range to get a bit more speed control. Like I said before, you've got the gears, make the gears work. You don't get charged for using low range. You're less likely to rip the track up any further than it already is. Let's see what a monster mine Quackenbush had here. Hopefully a bit more than just that one little bit of wooden structure there. Otherwise he didn't make much of it. We shall see. There's a bit of stuff to the right. Somebody's built some seating. Let's have a quick look up the hill here. Look amazing at all. Yeah, a bit of airflow through here again now that we're not getting covered in our own dust. There's a little road to the left. Oh, let's go and climb to the top. That way we can see everything and decide if there was any other large mine stuff a little bit here. The top of the universe, I'm sure, is here. Yeah. So far, Quackenbush didn't have much of a mine. Oh, that's yeah, I mean there's a bit of a hole. Oh, some serious wind blowing through there. Just to the left of us. Now just to the front of us. So if we drove straight, we'd go down a mine hole. But yeah, it's pretty small. Just a bit of, there's a shaft there and just some scratchings. Nothing much at all. Yeah, can't Can't see anything else. Alright. Alright, so this is the alternate exit. We came in obviously one way. We're going out this way. The main road's just a little bit ahead of us. It was all smooth sailing until just this little rocky patch here, going through this little watercourse gully. Up there, I see a sign. I see the main road, obviously. Sign says Quackenbush Mine Road, no camping. It's weird how they decide where to put the no camping signs and where to not put any signs. I'm not sure how the process is done. To do a quick look, see there's a bunch of stuff coming up. I don't think this comes from the main road that we're on, but I'm not sure if this is any more considered the main road or the main road vectored off to our right some. But it shows a bunch of dots up here, so let's go have a look, see, and then I'll figure out on the map if this road is gonna continue taking us somewhere. Yeah, little dots are just a tiny little bit further ahead. So a quick gander at that. Also time for a drink. Definitely need to remain hydrated out here, and other than breakfast and a bit of drink then. I haven't. Oh, there's a bit of stuff and even an old truck up there. Gold Belt Spring is just a little ways somewhere. Yeah, so there's the old truck. Yeah, they've obviously closed the road and stuff. Alright, I'll just get myself out of the way here in case someone decides to come ripping up here and have a little walkie-see. We've just come up from that little mining area, and just marks open pit mine, which looks like just a bunch of dug up rocks and stuff. Structure. Yeah, just a loading point on the right. Maybe it says no camping, who knows? Let's have a quick look, see. Oh yeah, there's the structure. We'll go the right side, which is probably the right way to go. That's a one-way loop, just so I can read the sun. But yeah, you can see the thing that they would have just run the ore off the top. It says Comet Mine, no, Calmet Mine, which is nice at its name since there's nothing naming it on the maps. It just obviously ends there. So no point driving down there. And yet here it doesn't say that you can't camp. It's very interesting choices. What they've decided is okay to camp at and not okay to camp at. Okay, so we'll get back out to the main drag. Alright, so we've got a sign there saying falling rocks. So I assume up here we must be going through a narrower section, since the maps show a whole bunch of switchbacks to obviously come down from up here to down there. So run the video for a while and see how exciting it is. Takes you to, well, it doesn't take you, but it goes past a turn off that says Hunter Spring, and a couple of people I just met, the guy was saying that there was water, lots of water in Hunter Spring when he was here in October. So worth popping in. It's only a K or two off this main drag, so certainly would pop in and have a look see. We're nearly down to empty on the tank. Little light's been coming on occasionally, which means once it's on, stuck on, it's about 4.5 gallons or so of fuel, but we've obviously got the 13 and a bit in the sub tank that I haven't transferred yet, so not like we have an issue. Well, so far I don't see any falling rocks, but maybe we've only just started the windy. It's hard for them to fall when you're at the top. But I assume we have to go. No, it's still going up, all the way up to the other side. That's quite the pass up there. Impressive. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the rocks can roll down the hill. That's more the situation. Not so much due to being down in a narrow canyon, but just the steepness of the hill. Yeah, just some old structures there. Yeah, there's a whole tank and a pipe, so must have got water out of the hill there. Just keep the video running. Why not? Get the whole climb up and over. You see bits of rock here and there, so obviously not lying that rocks do fall down on here. Not sure what you meant to do with the warning. So I don't think it makes any difference what speed you do it. Well, I guess the less time you spend on it, the less chance of getting hit in the noggin. It's not a big giant boulder that takes the whole vehicle off the side. Time to push There's switchback after switchback. Squeak on the brakes when you touch them, all the dust on the discs, the rotors. It's only well maintained, this part of the road system, that's for sure. You can again tell that a blade has been across here and taken all the, in fact you can see the large tyre marks from the equipment they used. A grader maybe, or just a loader. Yeah. It's actually nice not having any corrugations whatsoever. So they must have done this fairly recently, especially the tyre marks that are imprinted on the road that I spot every so often. Construction equipment size tyres, so might have only been just a few weeks ago. The Land Cruiser club came through here because I did hear mention about a road with a bunch of switchbacks and stuff, so this is clearly it. Okay, just plugged the power back in since the GoPro just ran out of power. Did some squeaking at me and I see it says 2%, so back onto vehicle power. Charge it up at the same time. The whole video. You can always edit out what's not needed. Or maybe just make a little video of just this little piece of the road as its own dedicated video. Fair bit of scrub here, definitely less arid compared to some areas where there's just about no plants whatsoever. Sit on the top of this plateau for a little bit. The road straightens out somewhat for a little bit, and a couple of little twisties and straightens out again. snow over there. I see snow. It's white. It's rocks. Side. No, it is snow. Wow. Alright, take a couple of pictures. Boggling. Well, yeah, sure enough, it is snow. Which probably explains why it's somewhat green on these hills, since I just walked up a little bit just to get to it. It's more like ice, obviously, but you can feel that ground has a dampness to it. So obviously these trees can grab as much moisture as they can during the snowy, wet part of the season, and then persevere through the summer. Very interesting. In a desert. Okay. A few munchies, a bit of water. Still have more munchies, but I'll drive a bit further and then I'll stop for one more bag of munchies. Definitely the shade side of the hill there, and the snow has managed to stick, turn to ice, but slowly melt. Give the plants and trees there some essential water. Which is probably why that side of the hill's got so many of the trees. Nature at work. There's no trees at all on the hill next to it, to the side, since no snow can hang in there. And I guess the trees create shade as well, so that helps to keep the snow from melting too quickly. It's kind of working together. There's a bit more snow on the hill that we just swung around the camera view, and again trees up there as well. Oh, quite a bit of snow in the far mountain range in front. I mean, not an enormous amount, but you can see all the patches around the trees and stuff. Quite interesting effect. I guess if the trees disappear, then the snow is less likely to catch for longer. It'll melt quicker because that stuff is in line of fire of the sun. Definitely a symbiotic relationship, you could say. Fence line. Someone was insane enough to fence some of this property. Dear me, they did. Lunacy. Fences disintegrating, of course. Fences are such a stupid idea out in these places. Alright, well, I'll kill the video for now. Yeah, so just a comment, the fence is shown on the topographic maps. And we're at 2,000 meters, so 6,500 feet, something like that. So it kind of explains why it's nice and cool up here, and also explains why there's snow on ice some of the hills here. Definitely climbed quite a bit onto this sort of plateau up here. I'll get real close to some of the snow stuff over there. Alright, so turning left it is, not because it's the road out of here, but it's the road to the Hunter Springs, which is maybe a kilometre and a half down here, about a mile. Now, given the snow in the hills, it's understandable that you might have a spring in terms of water replenishing itself from the snow melt through the hill, or seeping into the hill and then oozing out at where the spring is. Close up back windows and stuff. I'll just open them up to air out a whole bunch of dust that was starting to collect. Oh, someone's camped here. There's a little camper contraption and a tent. No vehicle, so they headed off exploring somewhere. Dampness there. A sign that's very old. I'd be surprised to find people camped here, given this is probably fairly popular. That guy that I bumped into stated that there was plenty of water here, then it's probably on the map for people to come to. But we'll see. It's only what, 2 p.m. p.m. daylight savings time, so it's still fairly early. Just about at the end of the road, so probably where the gate is. Why would you gate it? With a crappy fence. there's some silt piled up on the. Did that fence move or did I not? I mean, gate move. Didn't I open it enough? As I was saying, there's tons of silt piled up on the window edges on the back there from going through that silt bed. Quite the mess. A bit of compressed air needed there. Alright, let me close the gate. Alright, gate closed. Spring should be just here. The road on the topo shows that it just ends here. No campfires, that's fine. I haven't been having any of those this trip at all. Enter at your own risk. Hunter viruses may be present. Anything may be present, I guess. Okay, so there's a spring somewhere, but there's a cabiny thing up there. Maybe that's why they have to warn you. Okay, do some inspections. Alright, we had breakfast, packed everything, double checked everything, and we're now leaving Hunter Spring area. Let's just get map stuff running. We had one visitor just as I was about to get ready for my shower yesterday. Just a white Jeep or something. Just drove in and saw I was already there and drove back out again. Wasn't obviously interested at all in having a word or 3. That's okay. Some people want to give people their space. Alright, let's take care of the gate and everything this time. Okay, the gate is done. And we'll exit the space. We'll see if that little teardrop camper is still there. I assume it would be unless they take an early start. Who knows, maybe the Jeep was towing the thing and just popped in to have a look-see. Might have seen some tracks going in. Guess we'll find out. Either there's no teardrop camper, or there is a teardrop camper and no vehicle because they're still touring, or a vehicle that's a Jeep. Lots of combinations. Alright, we'll catch video when there's something useful. Yeah, there was a Jeep, dark coloured though. We've come out onto the grid and back onto the main drag. of ice. Okay, call it done for now and turn on when need be. I'm still seeing patches of snow because we're still about the same elevation. Yeah, I forgot to mention I checked on the maps and did a spot check on the GPS yesterday evening, and we're about 6,800 feet, which probably explains why it was fairly cold. Glad that I was in the cabin, not that it was warm in there, but got you out of the wind and everything. You can do all the cooking and stuff in some decent comfort. It would have been fairly grim being out, even with the vehicle aimed. So he's sitting behind the tailgate area. There's a windbreak and do all the cooking there. It's a heck of a lot better just being inside the cabin. Took my light and stuff inside, and probably had a little bit more temperature, no wind, and just a bit of the heat of the day. It's a tin roof, not insulated like the Superior. Lots of ice and stuff on the side there. Geologist cabin, which definitely kept the heat in. Plus that was rock, so it would warm up in the day, give off that heat at night. Probably if it was a hot weather at the time, then that would be a big negative, but given it's been fairly cool other than the odd day down at low altitude, it's actually quite nice having that heat. Oh, I'll stop video again! You can see the snow in the Sierras to a 10 o'clock-ish position. We're still driving along this plateau area. A very scenic drive, that's for sure. Very pretty at this time of the day. And nice being inside. The climate control system decided to blow hot air on me. I had to crank it way down because it obviously feels that outside is cold and inside was cold. I haven't yet acclimatized to warmth, so just a little bit warmer than cold seems warm. And the climate system said no, we need to heat you up to real temperature, so it was blasting some real heat out there. Seems to have stabilized somewhat now. Switchbacky, gentle curve. I'm guessing we're going to have to slowly start descending anyway to get down to the Panamint Springs or Panamint City, whatever it's called, kind of altitude. So the map says Jackass Spring, and indeed we are obviously coming down contours now. You can see the snow in front, ice. I should stop calling it snow. Just winds through a tiny little bit of canyon here. Given how dry all the springs in this area have been so far, likely this one's faring much better. Not sure about, well, it's damp, but it's kind of snow, ice on the ground, probably just melting, which is probably what would normally sort of feed the aquifer to create the spring. It might be a bit grim this year, given how little snow and rain has fallen. Yeah, you really only have it just in patches. Oh, it's all plastic polypipe there. Yeah, you can just hear how crunchy that ice is. And there's some bits of polypipe and bits of old steel pipe. So I'm guessing there was definitely a functional spring at some point. At least the steel pipe would be the vintage of when prospectors were out. Polypipe is obviously a much more recent innovation. Somebody, maybe the park services, who knows, at some point had put one in. I found a few springs in NorCal where they've put a pipe and brought water down from wherever it is up on the side of the hill, and it's just running water out of the pipe, and you can top up if you want, which is kind of nice. Much rarer here. Yeah, see the grounds just a little bit moist, just the coloration is different. Anyway, just followed a bit of a track. It just said corral. The track up there was nice. Here it's obviously got chopped up some when people drove through when it was more wet. So we'll see if there'd be a corral or whatever it claims was here. It's a bunch of rocks. Still don't see any rocks. I mean, corral. I see rocks. Yeah, maybe they got some cows up this way. It's doable since there's a spring and you're at altitude and there's some stuff to munch. Well, there's bits of wooden debris here. I'll go have a little bit of a walk-see, see if there's anything exciting. Well, that was different. I've got video obviously on the phone camera that I'll splice in. Yeah, it's quite a professional setup with solar panels and holding tank, and obviously an electric pump. Pretty serious panels to run just a pump. You have to believe that it's actually just have to find the road. Alright, that woke me up. Oh dearie me. Thought it was the end of the world there for a moment. What I was trying to say, before I was rudely interrupted by the stereo, was there's enough panel there to actually run a house, or a small house. I mean, you'd be pumping water for a small town with that much panel. So very strange. We'll see what is visible from the main road, since I just took the first of the little dirt roads that was marked on the map. Very, very strange. Yeah, there's like the entrance there, but it's overgrown, and other than there's just a blue container there as a marker. So yeah, it's not like anybody's living in there as such. There's not enough traffic. I don't know. Strange. Yeah, so definitely been descending for a little bit. There's the remnants of an old tank back a ways, and a piece of steel pipe that was visible down the middle of the road. So obviously taking water from that tank. Quite a ways from obviously where the solar was, but it was just the bottom steel ring of the tank that was left, long gone. So yeah, we just come down here, and in a kilometre or so we join up with the main road that is coming down from somewhere, from the northwest. Yeah, I can see some white Salt Lake-ish stuff off to the right. So maybe it's, well, there's a sign. We're rescued. What would we do without a sign telling us what we should be looking at? Maybe something historic. A leap of faith or something. That's a very nice view. Oh, all the way into Panamint Valley. Alright, take some video with the camera, with the phone. Bloody hell, it is cold as all frozen wastelands cold. Obviously the wind just howls over that little gully there. See some old wooden posts and stuff, just tiny little clearing on the right, remnants of an old tank. Yeah, they must have definitely homesteaded, or whatever the term is here, tried to eke out a living with a few cows or something. The last pinch till we get to the main road, which might be what we're seeing down there. Yeah, there it goes, it joins up over there. It's not really any more significant than this road. I don't know if I'd call it a main road. The map shows it, or the topo shows it as solid lines instead of dash lines. It purports to be more main than this road. This is a bloody good road, so that one doesn't look any wider. Anywho, it does lead us down to where we want to go, so we will be going left, wandering our way down. Oh, they got signs, warnings, falling rocks, I don't know, deadly, killer. What does it say? Not recommended, nothing. Warning, snow warning, 2/10/22. Yeah, I'd believe it. It would have been snow back then. And then pictures of stuck vehicles. Don't let this something. Read through Hidden Valley. Oh, road through Hidden Valley not advised. Deep sand 38 miles ahead. Yeah, it's like the vehicle we had to pull out. There's plenty of ways around it, let's just don't go through the bloody middle of it. Unfortunately, they went through the middle and they got stuck. Yeah, just more of the same view. I guess you could just floor the accelerator here and be at one with the afterlife. Alright, roll the motor on, continue on video. Yeah, I can see the dunes down there and stuff too. Okay. So yeah, it's maybe a little bit wider, so more well maintained, no doubt about that. But so was the one we were on, other than just some parts where obviously people have gone through just after snow and it started to melt and the ground had turned soft and they rutted it up and it dried. It was still smooth, but this is mirror smooth. Again, still driving along the plateau. Came down a little bit, but not significantly. So I'm guessing we're going to drop at some point quite a bit. But while we're up here, it's obviously quite cool / cold. Windy if you're standing in the hot spots. But very scenic. Joshua trees up at this altitude, which is interesting. Past another corral. There's a water tank. I see another tank down there. In fact, that should be visible obviously to the GoPro. Came across two guys in their 100 series. Forced them to actually have to stop and open their window. It seemed to be very forthcoming about chatting at all. So maybe Eric is right. Pretty new tank, so if it's got any water or anything, it's kind of tank to nowhere. So yeah, Eric is right. There's obviously a group of people that are going to be cagey about chatting at all. Asked where they're going, up that way. They asked me where I'm going and I just said down this way. Whatever. Yeah, just figured I'd capture a few seconds of video. Definitely come down into the Joshua Tree Forest here. It's quite a population density. We're at looks like around 5,500 feet. We've come down 1,300 odd feet. I guess these guys must like kind of high desert type stuff. Bring our speed down a bit here. Yeah. Anyhow, that was just interesting to see how many there are here. Okay, we've joined up with another similarly main road. See the remnants of pavement. I guess when you're such a poor state as California, it's hard to be able to afford to pave things or maintain the pavement. They should increase our taxes a bit more. Clearly not taxing us enough. There's still some blood left in the system. Heading towards some prospects and stuff. A few old cans. Goes in a few Ks. It shows gazillions of little marks. I'm not sure if that's gazillions of little holes, some old structures, who knows, not very clear on the map what some things mean and some things don't mean. We'll find out when we get there. Yeah, I see a bunch of mining activity, piles of rocks and bits of tin and whatnot. Not quite to the main point of it all in terms of all the marks on the map. busy people. Looks like an old cabiny type thing up there. Let's see, that's one direction, and then there's another direction to the right. No, let's check it all out. It's an old vehicle. It didn't make it. Lots and lots of diggings on the right. Alright, I'll catch some more video after. It's the end of one little road. They were very busy here, given how many little piles of dirt there are everywhere. Shows some more prospects marked on the map. And I think all the other marks that I saw were just a number of holes. Alright, I'll catch some more video in a while. And still just driving around the same little area of prospects and mines. Lots of little posts put up by the National Park mob warning you of the hazards of the holes in the ground. Another old vehicle. The only reason I drove this one is just to get a bit of video of the debris. Lots and lots of little mine stuff everywhere. You must have found signs that were promising, but nothing big.